What happens if you get yourself injured on a cruise? What if it's your fault, but you don't want to admit it? What if you go out of your way to blame everyone but yourself? These are their stories. From an incident reported on board.
Guest had an accident on the tour bus today. Per the guest, the bus increased speed just before going over a bump which causes the guest to fly up, down and fell forward. Guest was escorted on a wheelchair directly from the gangway and was seen by the onboard doctor.
Are you aware that all tour buses in Europe are required to have seat belts? Also, did you miss the admonition from the tour guide that all guests should use them, before the bus even started rolling?
After arriving back on board, the guest's husband asked who would be responsible for the financial burden of his wife's injury.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that it will be you. Or your travel insurance.
He then asked what we were going to do about the pain that his wife was in.
Wait. Wasn't she taken to see the ship's doctor? Wouldn't that be a question for them?
The guest services manager sympathized with the guest and explained that treatment advice can only be provided by a medical professional.
Hence us immediately taking her to see the ship's doctor.
The guest then asked what action we were taking against the driver who according to him was useless and not qualified for the job. We advised that his concerns are taken seriously and will be addressed accordingly with the independent operator.
The bus driver does not work for the cruise line. They are an independent operator that the cruise line contracts with. The cruise line will report it to the bus company for them to investigate and deal with as they see fit.
However, guest insisted on details, so guest services manager informed that it is currently under investigation and we cannot inform him of any more.
Second verse, same as the first.
The guest informed guest services manager that he was not offered the opportunity to go to a hospital or medical center. However, even if they had been offered, they would have refused as they would not have made it back to the ship on time.
Then what's your bloody point? You just complained that something was not done for you, and before that is even finished, you said that even had it been offered, you would have refused? Are you goofy? Also, remember when your wife was first brought on board, she was taken directly to the medical center. On board the ship? Kinda makes your whole point a useless waste of time.
The guest later visited guest services stating that he had a particular witness whom he would like us to contact in regard to the incident that took place the previous day. He asked if we also had a list of guests who took the tour and if we could contact them for statements to ascertain the event. Guest was informed that we allow guests to reach out to us out of free will and not compulsion.
Look, pal. This is not a law firm and you're not Perry Mason.
The guest asked for and received a medical report from the tour guide and from the onboard medical center. He stated that the onboard medical center is not well equipped.
You're also not Dr. Doogie Howser. Walk me through your qualifications to judge a shipboard medical center?
He also advised that he would visit a hospital once they reach home and would therefore like to know who will shoulder the financial responsibility.
Point 1. If you can wait for your return home to see a doctor, I'm guessing that this is not all that serious of a medical incident, and at this point I feel that you are exaggerating, hoping to get something out of it that you are clearly not entitled to. Point 2. This is an easy answer. You or your insurance will shoulder the financial responsibility.
He stated that his wife was given some painkillers by the onboard doctor, however she cannot take them as she doesn't know the source of pain.
Clearly you don't understand how painkillers work. This guest was allegedly injured on a bus tour because she did not put on her seat belt when instructed to do so. It's important to note that no one else on the bus was injured or complained. The cruise line immediately took her to the onboard medical center as soon as she returned to the ship to be checked by the doctor. The doctor found nothing seriously wrong, just some bruising, and gave her some painkillers. The husband started raising a fuss about who was going to pay for everything, trying to assess blame and pointing fingers. Obviously trying to gather steam for financial compensation, going so far as to demand that the cruise line question other guests and collect statements. Once they were home, the cruise line reached out in the form of a courtesy call and was told that she was fine and resting after seeing her primary care physician. Apparently her doctor held the same opinion as the shipboard doctor, in that she was fine. Injuries while on a cruise or tour can be tricky, especially if the guest tries to muddy the waters with exaggeration or hyperbole. The operator will ensure that you get timely, appropriate and proper medical care, but generally assume no financial responsibility. This should be covered through your personal medical insurance or through the travel insurance you purchase before your trip. Always check coverage and make sure you understand what is and what is not covered. Do not assume. Finally, follow instructions. If you're told to wear a seat belt, wear your damn seat belt. If you don't and something happens, like hitting a bump, and you go flying out of your seat, whose fault is that?